If you've ever thought, I want to get into real estate investing, but I have no idea where to start, this video is for you. It's Kassi Malkin here, your favorite Colorado realtor. Make sure to follow all my social media handles, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Let's get into it. Why in the heck am I qualified to tell you about how to start your investing journey? Well, I'm so glad that you asked. At just the ripe age of 26, I have flipped 8 different homes and ran and managed 1 Airbnb. All this experience included, you might have seen my historic church conversion online. So when it comes to development and investing, I've had my fair share of experience, and I'm so excited to bring that knowledge to you. I know YouTube is a free resource and space for you to use to get really valuable information like today. However, I just ask that you please like, share, and subscribe on my videos if you feel like you got anything useful out of this. Today, I'm gonna break down the 3 most common ways people build wealth through real estate. Okay, the first part of this video, we're gonna talk about long-term rentals. This is any property that you buy and you intend to rent it out long-term, which means 30 days or more. Here are some of the pros if you wanna be a long-term renter. One of those is consistent monthly cash flow. If you buy correctly and you have a good tenant, you'll receive rental income month after month while someone else helps pay down your mortgage. Another huge benefit is appreciation and taxes. So with long-term rentals, you get to write off the interest that you pay every month to the bank on your mortgage, and you get to reap the benefits of appreciation as you hang on to the property for a long-term amount of time. If you think about it this way, you're building equity in 2 different ways. Your tenant pays down your loan as they're paying their rent. And number 2, your property may increase in value as you keep it for a long period of time. So a lot of people use this strategy to actually build what we call a real estate portfolio or a retirement portfolio. You've heard of 401ks, you've heard of stocks, you've probably heard of high interest savings accounts. What long-term rentals do for you is if you're able to purchase quite a few, maybe 1 per year or 1 every couple years, you can now build up this rental or retirement portfolio. And these properties will not only cash flow for you, but they will also grow in appreciation. So give it 10, 20, 30 years, and these properties could be worth millions of dollars that you cash out in one day when you hit retirement. Just like everything, there is cons. So if you're going to long-term rent, here are things that you should consider. Number 1 is the maintenance and repairs. Owning a house is not cheap. If you want 100% liquidity and no overhead, you need to be investing in the market, not into real estate. You are going to have things like maintenance and repairs that the tenant will ask for, or things that the tenant might break, and you have to be ready to deal with those and be a problem solver. You're not always going to have a tenant. So there are periods of time when you're turning over a property that maybe you can't find a tenant. Maybe it's a weird time of year like January, February, and it's just hard to find somebody. So you have to be willing and able to make that mortgage payment even when you don't have cash coming in. Number 3 is property management is expensive. So if you're someone who wants to be completely hands-off from your rental, you need to have a cash flow chart for your rentals that shows what your cost of doing business with a property manager would be and without. Remember, property managers take a lot of liability off your plate, so I would highly recommend that you use them. And last but not least is the Colorado laws for tenants and landlords. They're very strict, they change every year, and you have to be on top of your game. So if you're gonna start investing in long-term rental properties, do your due diligence and research beforehand, or reach out to an agent like me who can help you with all of those ins and outs. Do you know if you're the right person to get into a long-term rental? Well, if you're looking to slowly build wealth over time and you want a relatively passive investment, long-term rentals are often a good starting point. Okay, next part of this video, we're talking about short-term renting. So this is anything that's less than 30 days. So you've probably heard of Airbnb, VRBO. There is also something called Furnished Finders, which is for nurses. This could be more midterm rental kind of people, but I still categorize this under short-term renting. There is a hospitality aspect to short-term renting that people don't think about. You're going to need to make sure your sheets and your bedding is almost like a hotel grade. You're gonna need to make sure you have lamps, amenities, work from home things like a desk or a computer. Also, preferably a backyard that can house dogs and cats, and then also a crew that will help you turn over property really quickly and efficiently. Because sometimes you might have someone checking out and checking in the same day. You've got to have a really good crew. A great Airbnb can generate significantly more revenue than a traditional long-term rental. You also have flexibility. So if you've ever used apps like Airbnb or VRBO, you know that you can block out times if you are a homeowner. So let's say you have family coming into town and you want to use your short-term rental to house your family. You can block out that weekend for your family with no consequence. Another advantage is being able to continuously improve the guest experience to increase nightly rates and reviews. Once you have that superstar host badge on your profile, this now means that you can start charging people more, or maybe even making the experience better. So if you're someone who likes to problem solve and you like the hospitality space, short-term renting might be for you. Here's some of the cons though. I have also had my own Airbnb in Broomfield, Colorado. We broke even on it every single month, so for us it wasn't a great investment and we ended up selling, but I will tell you it had its fair share of headaches as well. One of those being that the guest communication is tough. You will get texts at 12 o'clock at night. We had someone check in really late after a long road trip and then said that they were allergic to cats and had to leave our space. So at 1 in the morning, I was figuring out how to refund somebody their money back. So it is a lot of communication and effort. The cleanings, again, turning over a property from one guest to another. You have to have a really good, reliable crew. Restocking supplies. This one is not as tedious if you go to places like Costco or Sam's Club to get bulk items. However, you will need to have some sort of storage closet where all of your supplies can go, and you're gonna wanna stock up for a lot of months. Pricing adjustments can be really tough. The short-term rental space is very saturated here in Colorado, especially in those lovely Rocky Mountains. And so if you're gonna have a place that you are renting to guests, you better be very competitive on price and you better make sure your guests are fully accommodated. Remember too that short-term rentals are very much a competitor to hotels. So if someone doesn't feel like they're getting a great experience at your Airbnb or you're not getting good reviews, it's much more simple and easy for your guests to go drive to a hotel down the street. Lastly too, there are a ton of local regulations here in Colorado for short-term rentals. So make sure you research your county, understand the permitting that you need. Some counties don't even allow short-term rentals unless you're full-time living in the property. So you need to make sure you know the laws before you get that $15,000 fine. So you're wondering, am I fit for long-term renting or short-term renting? I will tell you, if you enjoy hospitality systems and maximizing income, short-term rentals can be incredibly rewarding, but they're definitely more active than most people expect. So if that sounds like something that's right up your alley, reach out to me or click that link in my bio. And last but not least, new construction. This can be scraping, building from the ground up, custom home, subdivision, anything where you are building a product for the consumer and it's a brand new housing development. This is one of my favorite conversations because I'm not only a national home builder list assist rep, but I also do a lot of building myself. If you've seen our historic church conversion, this we had to get a new certificate of occupancy on because we were turning it from commercial to residential. So I do love the development space. However, it's not meant for everyone. So let's go over what that looks like. The pros are that everything is brand new. Well, not in our church, but if you're building a new subdivision or custom home, it will be. So your plans are a lot easier to read. Your subs are a lot more manageable because they're gonna come do one large project at a time. And it's a lot easier to figure out a house from the ground up than from a house that was built in the 80s and you have to marry it to modern standards today. Some other pros is that you'll get to offer builder warranties, reassure clients that they're getting a product that is backed by your guarantee, modern layouts that people love, fewer unexpected repairs and costs at the end of the day, and energy efficient systems. Builders also frequently offer really great incentives, and this can make you stand out as a seller on the market. There is some downside though. The downside is that many builders have to build in metro tax districts, which are higher taxed communities than traditional here in Colorado. You also will typically incur HOA fees if you're building from the ground up, due to new build communities typically having rules and regulations for their community. Pricing can also be less negotiable with new builds. Once you set a price, you're kind of aiming for the consumer to understand your neighborhood and that price range in that way. So it's not as flexible when it comes to pricing. If you're building strictly a custom build, those can be harder to comp as well because there's just nothing like it. So make sure when you're picking out your finishes and your layouts that you're very diligent about what price point you need to be at. And finally, new build and development does come with a lot of liability. So remember, when you're selling a new build, the Colorado state statutes that you have to guarantee at least an 8-year structural warranty or a warranty to some capacity. So remember that you will have headache after the sale of the home instead of just dealing with the issue at hand. So who is new construction best for? It's a great fit for investors who want lower maintenance, predictable ownership costs, and newer homes that tend to attract quality tenants or buyers. So my biggest advice after completing 8 renovations, operating an Airbnb, and transforming a historic church into a home is that you have to just go for it. I know that sounds like crazy advice, but there are things like Excel spreadsheets to help you figure out your numbers, great resources and tools like myself, hard money lenders, or people that have been in the industry for a while. And there is a plethora of trades here in Colorado that you can interview and make sure you're getting the right price for the repairs and items that you need done on your long-term, short-term, or new development construction. Some investors want maximum cash flow, some investors want appreciation, some want something almost completely passive. There's no wrong answer to any of these, it's just about your goals as an investor. So if you're thinking about investing in Colorado, you know who to reach out to. It's Kassi Malkin here, your favorite Colorado realtor. Click that link in my bio and let's get started. Ciao for now.